So this is my current pedalboard that I've built in 2023, and I've added some updates in 2024, some pedals and some utilities. That's what I'm going to talk about today. I won't go into full detail about the setup and the routing of this pedalboard and the signal path and stuff, but some small highlights about this pedalboard is that you can do guitar and bass sounds at the same time. Or just the bass sound. Provided by the bass machine by EFX Harmonics. Synth sounds as well. You can also do drop tuning as well. E flat, D standard, D flat, all the way to B on this presets of the effect switcher, and it's all done by Midi. And I had some problems with the Midi when I started building this pedalboard. So I bought myself a Blokas Midihub, which is a great utility pedal which solved my pedalboard problems. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The first problem it solved was that there's a lot of pedals in here that only have a MIDI input and don't have a output. These are the Whammy DT by Digitech, the slicer by Boss, the Boss SL20, and the Zoom Multistomp. And the Zoom Multistomp doesn't have a regular 5-pin MIDI DIN connection, so it's actually controlled by MIDI to USB device, or a USB MIDI host, I should say. And since it officially doesn't react to MIDI, but people found out it actually did, but it only has a MIDI input and it doesn't send it through to the output. So that's like 3 pedals that only have a MIDI input and don't have a MIDI output. Now the EFX-LE, which is my pedal switcher, the Line 6 HX Stomp, and the C4 synthesizer, which is controlled with the Source Audio MIDI device. They all have MIDI out or MIDI through whatsoever, so you can put it in the MIDI chain. But those other 3 pedals, the Whammy DT, the Multistomp and the slicer, that don't have an actual MIDI through, so that's a problem right there. So the first problem the Blokas Midihub fixes is that it actually has multiple outputs, 4 outputs. And I'll show you on screen how I've routed it underneath. The EFX-LE has its own input and output on the Blokas Midihub. I'll show you why in a second. Then one of the outputs has, first of all, the HX Stomp by Line 6. Then it goes to the MIDI device for the C4 synthesizer, and after that it reaches a dead end on the Whammy. There's another output on the Blokas Midihub which is directly connected to the slicer and also reaches a dead end over there. And one of the outputs goes to the Zoom Multistomp. So that's the first issue that this thing solves. So yeah, you can just split it and route it underneath using these 4 inputs and outputs. But there's more to it than just that. Because in the Blokas Midihub editor, you can actually just say which signals go to which input or output. So the Midihub editor looks pretty complicated at first, but it's actually quite easy to understand once you get the hang of it. Because it's basically just taking blocks, adding some things like filters and stuff like that, and edit an output. So it's really straightforward. You can just delete those that you don't want to use anymore. So yeah, like I said, it's really straightforward and really easy to understand. And all of these blocks, you can just click on them, and they also have a little context help, so you can read about it, what it actually does. Everything that you select, it also shows the properties. You can bypass the thing bypass the different effects. So it's really straightforward, and they also have a forum, so you can get information quite easily. So like I said, I've had the EFX-LE in one loop. They're all connected to input and output D on the Blokas Midihub. And the cool thing is, in the editor, you can actually rename the inputs and outputs. Midi output D is the Musicom Lab EFX-LE, like I said. C is the line 6 HX-Stomp, then to the C4 and the Whammy. Output B is the bass slicer, and output A is the Zoom Multistomp. So that's really a nice feature in the editor. So you can rename the inputs and outputs, so you don't get confused which one is which. It also has 4 USB inputs and outputs, and these USB inputs and outputs are completely independent out of the inputs and outputs of the physical DIN inputs and outputs of the Blokas Midihub. It also has 8 virtual inputs and outputs, and these are used so you can merge all the signals coming into the virtual input or output and use it later in the chain as an output, for instance. Now, like I've said, the EFX-LE, which is my pedal switcher, it has its own dedicated input and output, which is connected to USB-D. Like you see over here, it's the USB-D is connected straight to the output D, which is connected to the Musicom Lab EFX-LE, and the input D on the Blokas Midihub is connected to the USB-D. And why I've done this is because there's an offline editor on the EFX-LE, and you see when I open up this editor, you can select the USB device that is connected to, and in this case just select the 4th one, which is USB-D. Midi out as well, it's also USB-D. Now I can connect it to the EFX-LE, which actually is a pain in the rear if you ask me. It's a little bit outdated. Let me show you how it works. You have to go to the settings on this device. Let's see, utility. Scrolling down. You have to get into this Midi sysx data dump or load. I hope you can read it. Then you have to press load as well on the editor. And then press the button. And now you can see it's sending data. See the progress bar also on screen, and you can see in the Midihub editor on the Midi monitor that everything is going in. There's a lot of sysx that is received right now. And there you have it. Now all of the presets are loaded into the editor of the EFX-LE, and I can do some changes on it in the editor, and then have to dump the settings back into the EFX-LE. So it's a little bit of a hassle, a little bit outdated compared to today's standards. You know, like the editor on the Midihub or the line 6 HX-Stomp, which are really great if you ask me. So this is a little outdated, but yeah, it works and it can be useful because editing on the EFX-LE is also really hard. But okay, that's something for another video. So the EFX-LE can be edited via your computer, but it doesn't have a USB connection, it only has a MIDI connection. So with the MIDI connected straight to the Blokas Midihub on its dedicated USB channel, I can edit it in the software on my computer, and those MIDI messages aren't connected to the rest of the pedalboard. It only goes straight to the computer. And those MIDI messages are system exclusive or sysx events, and these are outside of the standard MIDI messages like musical notes and program changes, control changes, stuff like that. So these are system exclusive. These are dedicated messages for certain devices. In this case, the EFX-LE pedal switcher, and other devices like the EFX-Stomp or the Whammy won't react to these kind of messages. So one of the issues that I have with the Zoom Multistomp is that it only reacts to certain type of messages, and the thing is, it officially doesn't react to MIDI at all. Or should I say, it's not mentioned in the manual that it reacts to MIDI. This machine reacts to the PC MIDI messages from 1 to 50. But the problem is that it reacts to it on every channel, which I don't want, because with the MIDI setup you should have all different channels on your different devices. For instance, my EFX-LE is on channel 1, the Line 6 EFX-Stomp is on channel 2, C4 is on channel 3, and the Whammy DT is on channel 4. So if I want to go to the first preset on my EFX-Stomp, then the Zoom Multistomp would also go to preset number 1, which I don't want. Now the Blokas Midihub helps out here because you can add a filter to these kind of messages. Like I've mentioned before, the Zoom Multistomp is connected to output A. What I do is when I switch presets on the EFX-LE, it sends out a PC message, and I've added a filter in the Blokas Midihub, so it only sends out the program change messages. You can see I've ticked all the boxes for all types of messages except for the program changes. So it only passes through those program changes to the Zoom Multistomp. But that's not all, because like I've mentioned, it does this on every channel, and I only want a certain channel. I've added a channel filter as well. And now you can see it filters everything on channels 1 to 15, and it will bypass these on channel 16. When I will send a MIDI message out of the EFX-LE on channel 16, the Zoom Multistomp will react to it, and on the other channels it won't react to it. So now I've created a virtual MIDI channel for the Zoom Multistomp, which it doesn't have on its own. So I'll show you how this works. Right now I'm in the MIDI editor from the EFX-LE, and you can see that on channel 16, which is the Zoom Multistomp, it'll send program change number 31, which is my doubler preset. I've also added a bit of reverb and stuff like that. But there's a dual digital delay, which acts as a sort of stereo doubler for this thing. And as you can see, let me scroll through it. When I send something, you can see it switches through the presets on the Zoom Multistomp. And now when I've changed it to another channel, let's say 15, and I'm going to scroll through it, you see it doesn't react on the Zoom Multistomp, which is what I want. So now it only reacts to the messages coming through on channel 16. I can also bypass this filter in the Midihub editor. Let me bypass it. And now when I change things on the channel 15, you can see it also changes presets on the Zoom Multistomp. So that's one of the things. Let me take the bypass off on it, so it only reacts again. See, now it doesn't react on MIDI messages sent on channel 15. Let me exit it before I accidentally overwrite this preset. So that's one of the issues that the Blokas Midihub solves right now. So the Zoom Multistomp doesn't have its own dedicated channel, and with the editor I can assign a virtual channel to it, so it doesn't react to the MIDI messages on all the other channels. So another issue that I've encountered is with the Boss Slicer, which is a tremolo effect, a wild tremolo effect. It has 50 different patterns. So the people that aren't familiar with it, that's what the slicer does. It has some great patterns, but also really dense patterns, especially when you use fast tempo settings. So the only MIDI messages it reacts to is tempo. So when you've got quite a fast song, these slicer patterns can get really, how to say it? They're really hyped up, too hyped up for the music. So let me show you. This is quite a fast song. It has a BPM of 160, and when I send this tempo to the slicer on this pattern, you can hear the denseness of this pattern. That's quite a lot. I'm showing another one. So these are all quite dense and high energy patterns. So especially with fast songs, you don't want those kind of in your face kind of patterns, because the tempo is quite high as well. So you want something else. Now in the Midihub editor, I've dedicated this output to USB B as well. The slicer is connected to output B on the Midihub, but I've also dedicated USB B to it. So like I've mentioned before, these are all independent, but just to make it clear, just to make it easy for me and clear for the rest, the USB B is also connected to output B on the Midihub. Now what it does is all the messages coming from USB B are all sent to the output B, which is the slicer, like I've mentioned. And in the middle I've added a tempo division, which is bypassed at the moment. I'll show you why. So what this does, it divides your tempo by a certain number. Right now I've divided it by 2, and when I lift the bypass, you can hear that these patterns sound way better when they're actually divided by 2. Sound way better, right? Let me show you another one. Now with the tempo division off, so way too dense for me. Let me try another one. So this is with the tempo division off. Now I've divided it by 2, but you can just add a random number to it. So let me divide it by 4. Now it will be even slower, I guess. So now it's really slow, a little bit too slow for my taste, so I'll set it back to 2, which is great. So that's something really nice that this device can offer. You know, you can divide the tempo that's coming into this device, whether it's via your DAW, which is like I just did with Ableton, or maybe the tempo source is coming from something else, like a looper, or maybe your effects switcher is sending out the tempo, or the HX Stomp. All of these tempos can be divided inside the Blokas Midihub for something like the slicer, so it doesn't react to tempo quite this fast. Could also be nice for delays as well. When the tempo of a song is quite high and the delay is too fast, you can divide it for delays that don't have tempo division. So these are 4 of the MIDI problems that this Blokas Midihub actually solves in my pedalboard setup. So the best solution that it offers is that it has 4 inputs and 4 outputs. These are all physical 5-pin MIDI DIN connections. Besides that, it has 4 virtual USB connections as well, which you can freely assign to those inputs and outputs. And also has 8 virtual inputs and outputs. Lots of flexibility right there. The second one, it solves the problem that the Multistomp reacts to PC messages on every channel, which is something that I don't want, because I don't want it to react to messages, especially for the HX Stomp or the Whammy DT or something, or the source audio synth. So it creates a virtual channel number for the Zoom Multistomp. It also solves the issue that the EFX-LE doesn't have a USB output. And with the Midihub, I can route its MIDI input and output of the EFX-LE straight to a dedicated USB output. And the last problem that it solves is that the slicer now can divide the tempo, because all of these patterns that are on there, especially with the songs that have a high tempo, very upbeat kind of tempo, in which the slicer patterns can get really messy and dense sliced patterns. So you can divide it. In my case, I've divided it by 2. So that's mainly what I use this Blokas Midihub for, in my case. Do you also have the Blokas Midihub? And I would like to hear from you what you use it for, or if you have any questions about it that you need solutions for, just leave a comment and I'll get back to you if I can. So yeah, that's it.